January 27, 1984. Los Angeles, California. The Shrine Auditorium is packed with 3,000 screaming fans. The world's biggest superstar, Michael Jackson, is standing on a massive stage, ready to film what was supposed to be the greatest commercial in television history. The pyrotechnics are set. The cameras are rolling. Michael begins descending a staircase, performing his legendary moves to a reimagined version of Billie Jean. And then, disaster strikes. A spark falls onto his hair. Within seconds, his entire scalp is engulfed in flames. The king of pop is burning alive on live television, in front of thousands of witnesses, and he doesn't even know it. What happened in the next 60 seconds would change Michael Jackson's life forever. This single moment would lead him down a path of unimaginable pain, addiction, and transformation that would ultimately contribute to his tragic death 25 years later. This is the untold story of the day that broke Michael Jackson. Before we dive deep into this incredible story, I need you to do something for me. If you're new to this channel and you love stories about legendary moments in music history, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. And while you're at it, drop a comment below telling me, what is your favorite Michael Jackson song of all time? I want to know. Was it Thriller, Beat It, Billie Jean, or maybe something from his later albums? Let me know in the comments and let's get this conversation started. Now, let's get into this story that will absolutely blow your mind. To truly understand the magnitude of this accident, we need to travel back to early 1984 and understand where Michael Jackson was in his career at that moment. Michael Jackson wasn't just famous in 1984. He was the most famous human being on the planet Earth. Just 1 year earlier, he had released Thriller, an album that would go on to become the best-selling album in music history, with over 70 million copies sold worldwide. He had won 8 Grammy Awards in a single night. He had invented the moonwalk on national television. He had broken racial barriers on MTV. He was 25 years old, and he was literally on top of the world. Every company in America wanted Michael Jackson to represent their brand. But there was one company that was willing to pay more than anyone else: Pepsi Cola. Pepsi offered Michael Jackson a deal worth $5 million, the largest celebrity endorsement deal in history at that time. The plan was to create 2 groundbreaking commercials that would revolutionize advertising forever. Michael would perform a special version of Billie Jean with Pepsi-themed lyrics, and the commercials would feature incredible special effects and pyrotechnics. Everything was set for perfection. The best directors, the best crew, the best equipment money could buy. 3,000 fans were invited to be part of the live audience. Michael's brothers, the Jacksons, were also part of the commercial. Nobody could have predicted what was about to go horribly, terribly wrong. The commercial was being filmed at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. Director Bob Giraldi was at the helm, and everything was meticulously planned. The concept was simple but spectacular. Michael would descend a grand staircase while performing, surrounded by his brothers, with massive pyrotechnic effects exploding behind him. The crew had already completed several takes throughout the day. Everything was going smoothly. Michael was in his iconic outfit, a sparkling military-style jacket with gold trim. His hair was styled with a significant amount of product to keep it perfectly in place. Take after take, the production team captured different angles. By the 6th take, everyone was tired but energized. This was going to be the best commercial ever made. Everyone could feel it. But here's what nobody knew. The pyrotechnics were set just 2 feet behind Michael's head. 2 feet. That's less than an arm's length away from explosive devices designed to shoot flames into the air. And Michael's hair. It was loaded with a flammable product called Jerry Curl Activator, a styling spray that was incredibly popular in the 1980s. It kept hair shiny and perfectly shaped. It was also essentially liquid fuel waiting for a spark. The sixth take began. Michael started his descent down the staircase, spinning and performing with the energy that only he possessed. The crowd of 3,000 fans went absolutely wild. The cameras captured every move from multiple angles. And then, at exactly 6:30 p.m., the unthinkable happened. A pyrotechnic device exploded just a fraction of a second too early. A shower of sparks rained down directly onto the back of Michael's head. His hair, saturated with that flammable styling product, ignited instantly. What happened next was captured on film and remains one of the most disturbing pieces of footage in entertainment history. Michael kept dancing. For several seconds, he had no idea his head was on fire. The adrenaline, the music, the screaming crowd, he was completely in the zone. Meanwhile, flames were spreading across his scalp, burning deeper and deeper into his skin with every passing moment. His brothers noticed first. Their faces changed from performance mode to pure horror. The crowd, initially confused, started screaming not with excitement, but with terror. By the time Michael realized something was wrong, the fire had been burning for approximately 15 seconds. He spun around, confused, and that's when someone finally tackled him to the ground. Crew members rushed in, desperately patting at his head with their bare hands, trying to extinguish the flames. Miko Brando, son of legendary actor Marlon Brando and Michael's close friend who was working as his bodyguard, was one of the first to reach him. He later described the smell of burning hair and flesh as something he would never forget. When the flames were finally extinguished, the damage was revealed. Michael had suffered second- and third-degree burns to his scalp. A patch of his hair, roughly the size of a palm, was completely burned away, along with several layers of skin. But here's the truly incredible part. Michael's first instinct was to calm everyone else down. Despite the excruciating pain, despite the fact that he had just been literally on fire, he was worried about the fans, the crew, and his brothers. He was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in an ambulance. The crowd was in shock. The production was immediately shut down. News crews arrived within minutes, and by that evening the story was on every news channel in America. The world watched in horror as footage of the accident was played again and again. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, the untouchable superstar, had nearly died in front of thousands of people. What the public didn't know was just how serious Michael's injuries really were. The burns to his scalp were deep and extensive. He required surgery to treat the damaged tissue. Doctors had to remove dead skin and work to prevent infection. But the physical injuries were just the beginning. Michael experienced excruciating pain during his recovery. This was the 1980s, and the standard treatment for severe burn pain was powerful prescription painkillers. Doctors prescribed Michael a medication called Percodan, an opioid painkiller. For the first time in his life, Michael Jackson was introduced to the world of prescription drug dependency. He later admitted that this accident was the beginning of his struggles with pain medication, a struggle that would follow him for the rest of his life. The burns also left permanent scarring on his scalp. Michael would never again be able to grow hair naturally in certain areas. This led to him wearing wigs for most of his remaining career, something he was deeply self-conscious about. Beyond the physical damage and the beginning of his drug dependency, the accident had profound psychological effects on Michael Jackson. Michael was already known for being insecure about his appearance. He had grown up in the spotlight, constantly criticized and mocked. His father had called him ugly. Tabloids had attacked his looks for years. He had already begun his journey of cosmetic procedures to try to achieve a look he felt comfortable with. The burn scars added another layer to his already complicated relationship with his own image. He became even more obsessive about controlling how he was photographed. He began wearing more elaborate hats, headpieces, and styling choices to hide his scalp. Some biographers argue that the 1984 accident accelerated Michael's transformation into the increasingly reclusive figure he became in later years. The trauma of being publicly injured, of being vulnerable in front of the entire world, reinforced his desire to control every aspect of his public persona. In the weeks following the accident, the question of liability became a major issue. Pepsi was terrified. They had just nearly killed the world's biggest celebrity during their commercial shoot. The potential for a massive lawsuit was enormous. Michael Jackson could have demanded tens of millions of dollars. He could have destroyed Pepsi's reputation forever. He had every right to be furious, to seek revenge, to make them pay for their negligence. But Michael chose a different path. He settled with Pepsi for $5 million, a fraction of what he could have demanded. But here's what he did with that money. He donated the entire amount to the Brotman Medical Center in Culver City, California. The donation was used to establish the Michael Jackson Burn Center, a facility dedicated to treating burn victims. Out of his own tragedy, Michael created something that would help others suffering from similar injuries. This act of generosity largely stayed out of the headlines, but it reveals so much about who Michael Jackson really was as a person. As the years passed, the effects of the 1984 accident continued to shape Michael's life in ways that weren't immediately visible. His dependency on pain medication grew. The accident had introduced him to a world of pharmaceutical relief, and as other health issues arose throughout his life, he turned more and more frequently to prescription drugs. The scarring on his scalp also led to additional medical procedures. In 1993, Michael underwent a procedure called a balloon scalp expansion, designed to stretch healthy scalp tissue to cover scarred areas. This and other procedures added to his ongoing medical expenses and his complex relationship with doctors and medications. By the mid-2000s, Michael was reportedly taking multiple prescription medications daily. His doctors have been criticized for overprescribing to him, but the roots of this dependency can be traced back to that single moment in 1984, when a spark fell onto his hair. When Michael Jackson died on June 25, 2009, the official cause of death was acute propofol intoxication, an overdose of a powerful anesthetic. While the Pepsi accident wasn't the direct cause of his death, many biographers and medical experts argue that it started him on a path that ultimately led to that tragic ending. The footage of the accident still exists today. It has been viewed millions of times on the internet. Watching it is a surreal experience, seeing the world's biggest star burning while continuing to perform, unaware of the danger, while thousands watch helplessly. Some people have questioned whether the footage should be shown at all. Is it exploitation? Is it educational? These debates continue to this day. What's undeniable is that the footage serves as a reminder of how quickly everything can change. One moment, Michael Jackson was at the absolute peak of his power. The next moment, he was fighting for his life. Looking back at January 27, 1984, it's impossible not to feel the weight of what that single moment meant for Michael Jackson's life. Before that day, Michael was invincible. He was young, healthy, at the top of the world. He had conquered music, broken barriers, achieved things no one thought possible. He had everything. After that day, something was different. The physical scars were hidden by wigs and styling. The emotional scars were hidden behind his trademark smile. But the pain, both physical and psychological, never truly went away. The accident set in motion a chain of events that would haunt Michael for the rest of his life. The introduction to pain medication, the increased insecurity about his appearance, the trauma of public vulnerability. Each of these factors played a role in shaping the Michael Jackson the world came to know in his later years, the reclusive, mysterious, often misunderstood figure who retreated further and further from public life. Would Michael Jackson have lived longer if that spark had never fallen? Would he have avoided the medication dependency that contributed to his death? Would he have been happier, healthier, more at peace with himself? We'll never know the answers to these questions. What we do know is that Michael Jackson transformed his own tragedy into an opportunity to help others. The burn center he funded has treated countless victims over the decades, giving them hope and healing that Michael himself struggled to find. Perhaps that's the most important legacy of that terrible day, not the destruction it caused, but the healing it made possible for so many others. Michael Jackson spent his entire life trying to make the world a better place through his music, his philanthropy, and his message of love. Even in his darkest moment, burning alive on a stage in Los Angeles, he found a way to turn pain into purpose. That's the true mark of a legend. If this story moved you, if it gave you a new perspective on Michael Jackson and the struggles he faced behind the scenes, I need you to do a few things. First, smash that like button. It helps this video reach more people who need to hear this story. Second, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. We tell stories about legendary moments in music history, and I promise you won't want to miss what's coming next. Third, share this video with someone who loves Michael Jackson. Share it with someone who needs to understand the real human being behind the legend. Share it with someone who thinks they know everything about the king of pop, because I guarantee they've never heard this story told this way. And finally, drop a comment below. Tell me what you think about this story. Did you know about the long-term effects of this accident? Do you think it changed Michael's life forever? I read every single comment and I want to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for keeping the legacy of Michael Jackson alive. Until next time, stay legendary.